Today, we are going back to my roots. The headset is back on, the setup is set-up-ing, and today I'm going to be answering all of your weird questions while I mine in Minecraft, because it has been so long since I've been just able to sit down and make like a gameplay video with you guys that I felt like that this would be the perfect way to kind of bring it back. But if I'm being honest, I don't know exactly where we're going to start mining. I think, hold up, there we go. I think we'll actually go this way and kind of go into this little crevasse. But while we make our way over there, what is the scariest or most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you? That is a hard one, you know, because I have so many, like, I know it said it didn't have to be paranormal experiences, but I have a ton of paranormal-esque experiences that I've had, as well as embarrassing moments. But if I had to combine the two, I would say there was a moment when I want to say I was around 12 at the time, and I had went to bed one night, and I woke up in the middle of the night. Like, if I had to guess, it was probably 3 a.m, but I'm not for certain. And I remember not being able to move my eyes, not being able to say anything, and just having just this overwhelming feeling, right, of just, oh, turkeys, but just this overwhelming feeling of being so confused. And then obviously, like I said, I couldn't turn my head or anything, so I look with my eyes to the corner of my room, and I see what looks like the fucking Hat Man. I'm not even kidding. Like, I see a shadow person in the corner, and I remember just feeling like so afraid. Like, the imminent doom was so real that it wasn't even funny. And I don't even remember falling back asleep, but I remember waking up the next day and being scared so shitless that, like, I didn't want to sleep in my own bed anymore. And I remember trying to tell my mom, I'm like, Mom, dude, like, something is going on. Something ain't right. And she's like, oh, because we had Christmas trees set up all around the house, because we had like 2 at one point, and she had set up one outside of my door, and it was like, oh, you were just seeing the Christmas tree, like, it's fine. And I'm like, no, it was not fine. And no one ever believed me, and it was kind of just seen as this phase of like, oh, like, Bree got scared in the middle of the night. So not only was I scared shitless, but also probably one of the most embarrassing experiences for sure. How long does it take you to record and edit a video? That is a loaded question, because it solely depends on the type of video that I'm creating and the type of vibe that, like, I kind of want it to give off. Because whenever I first started doing videos and doing YouTube, a lot of my videos took like no time at all to edit or anything like that, because for those of you that haven't been here a while, I was using iMovie on my phone to record and edit everything. And there's only so much that you can do with those tools, not even free tools, but just iMovie in particular, that I couldn't do all that I wanted to do anyway, so it wasn't going to take me as long. But now that I use Premiere and I try to do a little bit of like extra things with the editing sometimes, it tends to take me a bit longer. But videos like I gotta think. Like the AI psychosis video, those ones tend to take a little bit, because I put a lot of time into like getting screenshots lined up right, things of that nature, because I want y'all to have that clarity of when I'm talking about something, I want you to be able to like understand it and kind of show it on the screen. So that takes a bit of time. But whenever it comes to just regular gameplay videos like The Walking Dead, those typically don't take very long. The longest part, honestly, is just watching and making sure that like, there's no mistakes in the video, essentially, because there's been times where I've had so many editing mistakes that I haven't noticed because they're so tiny, and I don't notice them unless I watch the whole video back first. I think the longest video that I've ever edited, I would say, probably took me a total of like 3-4 days in total. And the worst part is that I don't even remember, looking back on it, what video that was now. But I remember there's been so many times where like I've been editing long videos and like I'll lose footage, or like a video will be corrupted. Like typically it's the issues like that take the longest. If a video is ever delayed for y'all, it's probably not the fact that like, oh, she didn't record it, or like, oh, she procrastinated. No, technical difficulties. Like 9 times out of 10, for real. Okay, wait, this wasn't as good as I thought it was. I mean, there's a little... Hold up. There's a little doohickey over here. Maybe this will be a little bit better, but if not, I think we might just... Wait. Okay, but hold on. Like, yes, but does it go deeper? Hold up. Wait a minute, because I think it might. Because I thought about just digging down over there, but we might. I think I'm going to start here, actually, and kind of make a little cavern go in this way. What was school life like? Did you enjoy it, and what did you do? If we're talking like elementary school, middle school, things of that nature, elementary school, I loved school. You know, I preferred being at school over being at home almost any day. Middle school, however... No. I had joked in my reacting to my first YouTube video ever, because I made that video a little over 10 years ago now. And I had made a joke and was like, hey guys, yeah, like I was bullied hard as fuck for this video, you know, and I made a big joke of it, but honestly, I was not playing, you know, and it wasn't just because of the YouTube stuff either, but it was just a combination of that, the area I was in, so on and so forth. It was not a good time for little Bree. But in high school, I kept to myself, other than some clusterfuckery that went on. It was okay. But if you were talking about college, though, to keep a long story short, I enjoyed it whenever I first went. You know, like, it was really stressful because of the course load and things like that, obviously, but I enjoyed learning, you know, and I enjoyed getting to have like intellectual conversations with people, I guess. But later, I feel like that if instead of going whenever I was 18 and just trying to do it in the mindset and as the person that I was then, if I had started my college journey now, I feel like I would have been much better off. And honestly, just for who I am as a person, because hold up, I gotta pause for this one, because I'm not gonna be able to keep my thoughts. But for the person that I am and the things that I like to do, because obviously you're here watching me over on YouTube or over on Patreon or wherever you're watching me, this is the type of stuff that I love doing, you know, and you don't need a college degree for that. Even if they tell you that you need like to buy a course or something, you don't. And I had realized, because I had actually dropped out of college, and no, don't drop out of college if you're there unless you're unhappy. Please don't take what I'm about to say is, hey, you need to drop out. My thing is that I had originally dropped out due to like financial issues, because they wanted me to pay a fuck ton of money before I went back the next semester, because I had lost some of my financial aid. And I had thought about, you know, trying to go to a community college or going back, but then I realized, like I said, for the stuff that I love doing and for the type of person I am, like I didn't need it, you know, and I don't think a lot of people really talk about, they think that going to college is the default, you know what I mean? And if you want to be a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, what have you, or like a psychologist, go do that, you know, go do those things, but like, don't feel pressured by society and don't feel pressured by like your parents or people in your life telling you what to do. Do what you want to do, you know, and I apologize. That was a long tangent, but I feel like that needed to be said, you know. What is your favorite video you've ever made, not counting gameplay videos? And who out of any Dreamworks villain would you trust holding your drink? My favorite video that I've ever made. I think that's, first of all, really good question. But secondly, I don't know if I could pick just one. And the thing with my videos, honestly, is that I feel my relationship with my videos is so interesting, because I will make something and I will be so proud of it in a moment. And it's like, yes, this is so great. This is fantastic. And then I'll upload it later and be like, girl, No. But if anything, that just shows growth. I love going back and kind of like cringing at myself occasionally, because one of the oldest videos that I'd made that was one of my favorites was I had played The Baby in Yellow, if you guys have heard of that horror game. And at the time, that was probably one of my most well edited videos, even though now, whenever I go back and look at it, I'm like, girly pop. Queen. That was so not it. But those types of videos not counted, I think, like, okay, I love these Spark Up series videos that I've made, and technically those are gaming to an extent, but not gameplay, just because I feel like those videos, they're a way that we can all kind of be goofy together, and I think that's really fun. But I also really like the AI psychosis video that I had made lately. One, not only because it's an important thing that I feel like we should all kind of like have conversations about, but also because I love getting to hear your guys' viewpoints, and I love getting to hear your perspectives, even if we don't agree on things, and being able to kind of just, you know, let y'all see the inner workings of my brain, because, you know, I had gotten caught up for a while and just trying to make stuff, not necessarily for numbers or what would perform, but it was something that I had worried about, especially whenever there was more of you that have came in, and thank you for that. But I didn't want y'all to think like, oh my god, she's a flop, blah blah blah, whatever. But then I realized now, especially these last like 3 or so videos, I've just been trying to do what's on my mind, what I want to talk about, and what resonates with us as the fam. And finally being able to do that and seeing those videos of me just being myself, it's like, oh, like kind of all of these are my favorite now. Like, that's a little corny, but that's really how I viewed it though. And to get away from the sappy stuff for now, the Dreamworks villain that I would trust to hold my drink, personally, probably Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda, because, you know, like, obviously some very questionable things were done in that movie. However, I feel like if we were like good friends with Tai Lung, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he would be trustworthy, you know, especially compared to all of the other Dreamworks villains, and maybe there's some that I'm forgetting, but like, I feel like he would probably be the safest bet. Ooh, okay, hold up. Finally got some iron. I know I said that we were mining diamonds in this video. I'm hoping we still do. Maybe there's time. Hold on, wait, hold the phone. I mean, yeah, we have our copper and everything, but like, what is this? Hold on, this is a whole, like, okay, this is too square and too uniform. Am I going the wrong, I know there isn't a wrong way to go, but like, where am I? Wait. Hold the phone. There's a thing over there, and what looks like lush things. I haven't played Minecraft in so long, and with all the updates, I'm so fucking confused, bro. Okay, wait, wrong way. I'm already getting caught up and going the wrong way too. We'll have to come back in here at some point. What is your favorite video game, and what is your favorite dinosaur? Firstly, the fact that these were paired. Kinda everything, low-key. Whenever it comes to my favorite video game, not to keep saying this, but I don't feel like I can pick just one, because I love a bunch of different games for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, like Minecraft, Skyrim. Personally, I love Fable, and almost any story-based choice game like the Walking Dead games and Detroit Become Human. And granted, I have some personal beef that I've developed with the Walking Dead Telltale games as of recent, but that's a whole other discussion for a whole other time. Hey now, hold on, they're fine. Wait, he can't. Okay, no, he can't get up here. He's fine. Hold on, take my iron. Listen, we can't leave any piece of loot behind, dude. I lied. I think I'm actually gonna go back down here. I said that I was gonna come and save it for later. Oh. I gotta keep forgetting the fucking combat update too. I can't just spam click it and then it be fine. And my favorite dinosaur, I almost forgot that half of the question. My favorite dinosaur, obviously, I love T-Rexes because they're cute and they have little arms. But my favorite, though, I would probably say a Stegosaurus or a Brachiosaurus. Like, very basic, but I don't think any explanation is needed for those ones. Hold up. Okay, there's some, I don't want to go down there. I keep on going in circles. Ooh! Okay, period. We building a staircase, baby. If you could go back in time to any year for whatever reason, what year would you go back to? I don't know if I could say a specific year, but I would say that they would all be for similar reasons. I originally was going to say whenever I was in middle school, you know, because middle school I would say was probably one of the hardest times of my life, you know, and I would probably go back in time just to be like, hey, it's gonna be okay, by the way, you know, because I feel like if I had heard that back then a lot of things probably would have went a bit differently. And to those of you watching at home, I know shit is kind of crazy in the world and everything right now, so if you're having a hard time at home too and no one's told you this today, it's gonna be all right. Did you ever watch animated series like Regular Show or Transformers Prime? I didn't watch Transformers Prime personally, but I did in fact watch Regular Show. I watched a good bit of Regular Show. I watched it. Ooh, damn. Interrupted me and everything, dude. Foul. I watched Adventure Time. I watched a little bit of Steven Universe. I wasn't allowed to watch Steven Universe for a while, which that's a whole different story time. But mainly I watched shit like Gravity Falls. You know, Gravity Falls was kind of everything to me. So I watched that a lot. Like I said, Family Guy, but Bob's. That was the one that I was trying to come to because Gravity Falls and Bob's were probably my two most watched series ever, along with Your Lie in April, because that anime is too good. Do you have a favorite South Park character? Personally, not to be basic, but I love Kenny. I love Butters, you know, because Kenny, it was the episode where he bought the doll for his sister for me that had me so fucked up. And Butters, honestly, I just like Butters because Butters is Butters. Who couldn't like Butters? What made you get into content creation? And please don't say for the clout. If I am being entirely honest on how I got into content creation and why I started making videos to begin with, it is solely because, you know, I had watched a lot of YouTubers growing up, and I had said this a couple of times and mentioned it in a couple of like live streams and videos and all this, but my growing up in my childhood and everything, it was interesting. It was interesting to say the least. And honestly, watching people like PewDiePie, because PewDiePie was one of the first people I watched, Daz Games, Stampy, iBallistic Squid, like coming home and watching those people, it kind of made me forget about the shitty stuff that I had going on at home or in my life. And it really made me think, because I'm like, look, if I can create something and put something out into the world while also kind of reminding people that like, hey, it's gonna be okay, and getting to make people smile throughout that, like it really became an aspiration for me. And that's why I hit record to begin with, was just because I want to put out good into the world, you know? Have you ever owned a parrot? I have not owned a parrot, but actually Tom's grandparents have a parrot. His name is Billy, and I love him oh so much, even though he's so mean. He is the meanest bird I've ever seen, but like if you give him peanuts, he's okay. Yuri or Yaoi? First of all, I did not think that was ever going to be a question that I was ever going to get on a public platform. First of all, I just want to say I'm glad they're both getting representation, you know, representation for the win. If we're talking about for like plot reasons though, hold on, and I'm not gonna lie, I get the two mixed up all the time, so like don't yell at me. The only way that I really remember it is like Yuri on ice, you know, and that's the only way that I can ever remember the difference. So if we're talking like Yaoi, then I would say for plot reasons, I think Yaoi would be my favorite. Ooh, what the hell? Okay, I don't know if I know I haven't played this in like a really long time, but like, what the hell is up with all of the change in blocks? Is it because I mined the redstone? Am I goofy? Like, I have never seen that. Why do you hate Jojo? Why do you like catching fish his family? Jojo, I do not hate you. First of all, I do not hate you, Jojo. Second of all, for Fish's family, because look, Fishy had it coming. Okay? Like, if I am hungry and he is just out here looking delicious, he had it coming. He did. I don't know what else to say. I'm just kidding. I don't have a vendetta against fish, but like for real though, don't come around me when I'm hungry. Maybe we wouldn't have this problem. Wait, oh my god. Oh my god, it fucking made the thing glow. Oh, so it's just anytime there's something on it, but why not the water? Why not the flowers? I have so many questions. For those of y'all that have made it this far, first of all, thank you. Second of all, can you guys please explain what's happening to the ground for me, because I am so confused. Are you real? It's so funny because on the AI psychosis video that I uploaded, I had someone ask me if I was AI, and I've had that question asked multiple times. First of all, do I look like ChatGPT to you? Do I look overtly smooth? I wish I did sometimes, but I do not. Okay, so no, I am very much real, fortunately. Oh, there's flowers over there. Listen, that probably made my delivery of that like so strange, and I'm so sorry, but like, since when are there flowers in the cave? Oh. Okay, that was so, that was so fucking dramatic for no reason. That drop was literally like 2 blocks. Oh my god, Dinah. Oh hell yeah, dude. I will take all of that, all the emeralds, all of the everything. Do we have anything else to give you, queen? Nah, we ain't got nothing. We only got, wait, hold on. How many 8 apples for 1 emerald? Okay, that was ass. I didn't even realize that. What price would you sell a kneecap for? The thing is like if I sold my kneecap, would it be replaced with a prosthetic kneecap? Would my leg be functional? Would I have my leg, period? Because that changes my answer a lot. Like first of all, I wouldn't sell my kneecap. I would not sell my kneecap, but hypothetically, if I were to sell my kneecap, at least 10 grand. But the thing is though, is like, to make up for the inconvenience that would cause, like my price would have to go way up, like inflation to the max. Ooh. Okay, I was actually really excited for this question because it is long, but they ask, how are you doing? How is gaming? Did you find the change in content interesting? Did you find new people? And how did we arrive from compilations and gameplay to this? And this was actually something that I had been wanting to talk about for a while, because I made a few playlists here recently because I know some of you had mentioned that, like, the playlist and like what did they mean, and like, because obviously there's some new things that are in store for the channel, because about close to 2 months ago now, I believe, I started covering stuff like censorship in gaming and things that were kind of happening around the world, because that was something that was really heavy on my mind. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it still is heavy on my mind, but I let that kind of stuff really take over what I was thinking about, if that makes any sense. And look, I gotta pause the game, because for real, like, I have so much trouble keeping my thoughts that I don't want to butcher this. But I had started covering that stuff, and I was so bogged down by the negativity, and I started covering it because I wanted to get the word out to people and just try to, I talked about wanting to put good into the world, and I thought by talking about this stuff, it would help people be more aware of things. But what ended up happening was I did make people aware of some things that were going on, and that's how a lot of you actually discovered the channel. And for those of you that came, had good conversations, stayed, whatever, I'm so grateful for you, and thank you for that. But it made me so sad, you know, and it made me so angry thinking about everything that was going on in the world. And, you know, obviously I'm still going to talk about things whenever they're important, but I don't want the channel to be a space where you come to get your sad news, you come to get your angry news. Like, I want to be a place, going back to the reason that I wanted to do and create content to begin with, is I want the channel to be a place where you can come and forget about the shitty stuff that's going on in your day. You know, like, I don't want to be the reminder of that. And even just getting on the YouTube app for a while was making me anxious, because all I was seeing was all of this shitty stuff. you know, and that's kind of why I've switched gears a little bit because, and also on top of that, like I was always a gaming channel at heart, if that makes any sense. Like, despite the little skits and stuff that I did whenever I was first starting YouTube, I made a few edits because I was that girl, you know. I have always been a gaming channel at heart, and even just that switch in content, even though like we were still talking about gaming and how things affect gaming and media and all that stuff, doing it with that angle, it didn't feel like me. And you know, not only do I want this to be a happy place for you guys, but also I want this to remain a happy place for myself, you know, because that's what little me started this for, a happy place for me and a happy place for y'all. And I am glad that by doing the content that I did there for that little bit, that I did meet a lot of new people and I got a lot of new perspectives and I learned a lot of things, you know, and I think that's really valuable, you know. And I'm glad that even though it took me everything not to private those videos and just say, like, even though they did well and just say, yeah, this isn't me anymore, I'm just going to push it to the side, like I still wanted to keep them there because not only does it show like my journey, I guess, in creating content, but it also shows how we've evolved together, and I think that's really cool. And granted, that was a long blippy. That was a long blippy, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it needed to be said, you know? What are your thoughts on birds? Personally, I love birds. And I kind of have the same view on birds that I have on diamonds at this current moment, and that is I wish I seen more of them because we ain't seeing shit out here. Dinah, thank you, my girl. Hold up. So we have so many iron now. Slay. Hold up. Wait. This is all of the... I'm actually going to make a waypoint here because this is... Hold up. Obsidian pit. So whenever we get our diamonds, we can get some of this shit and actually make ourselves another portal. Where did you put my car keys? I mean, you never know. I mean, I'm not going to say that I stole them, but I mean, if I were you, I would look under your fridge. You know, the couch, those little spaces and cribs. Are we ever going to get a classic like Skyrim, or are they just going to keep feeding us recycled content? I have a lot of mixed opinions on that entire statement as a whole, because I feel like we have gotten some good games, you know, but I do get what you're saying though, because I do feel like a lot of concepts and everything are reused, but also I think a lot of people are just really too tied into nostalgia. Not necessarily saying that the person that asked this is, but I'm saying people, period, because it's, you know, the classics like Skyrim, whenever we refuse to play any other games because we're so focused on our old ones. But if I had an issue with anything whenever it comes to gaming as of recently, other than like the price of things, even though this kind of ties into it, that every game has felt the need to add microtransactions, because it's like we can't play most games anymore without having to buy something aside from the game, and I could make a whole video on that in and of itself, but it's just irking for sure. Who is thee? I am Brani, and I am just a girl embarrassing myself on the internet a couple times a week. You know, the usual. Who are you and why are you on my screen? Please get this off. I just want to buy Christmas presents for my grandson. First of all, Cecil, that's not very kind. Why are you being like that to me? But I guess I will have to follow Gramp's orders, because that is the last of the questions that we have for today's episode. And granted, unfortunately, we didn't find any fucking diamonds, which is so foul. But what do you guys think of the answers I gave? Do you have any questions that you would like to see answered? Because I may or may not make a part 2. And honestly, I have just missed making gameplay videos, period. So I have a little something cooking up for you guys, not only for October that I have talked about a little bit, but also possibly a new series that I'm probably going to give you guys a poll on, because, you know, I like to keep y'all included. And also, before I fucking forget, thank you guys so much who have been supporting over on Patreon. I appreciate you guys a ton. And if you guys want more videos like this, please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you're oh so inclined, watch another video to spend some more time with your girl. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.